first known rules of golf were drawn up in 1744 by the Gentlemen Golfers of Edinburgh in Leith, Scotland. Since then, the game has changed dramatically. Golf courses, equipment, and not least the rules. So where do I go when I want to learn about the rules of the game today? Well, I go to the GolfRules Questions podcast with Blakey and Roscoe, of course. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the GolfRules Questions podcast. Well, yes, hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the GolfRules Questions podcast with me, Roscoe, your co-host, joined once again digitally because we're in lockdown again, so there hasn't been a trip on the road for a couple of weeks now. Joined by the GolfRules Questions guru himself, Blakey. How are you?
Yeah, welcome back to the COVID update podcast with golf. It's been fantastic. We're in this 5-day snap lockdown. How good's that for Victoria?
Oh, well, better to get on top of these things, Blakey. We don't write the rules. We just follow the golf rules. We don't write the rules of the government. We just follow the golf rules. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Another jam-packed episode. We have got the answer to last week's Golf Rules question of the week, the GRQ. As I said, that was... what did I say? What was my...
Doozy, didn't you? Ding dong.
No, that was your the one with Mrs. Blake. I said, no, that is ridiculous, I think. But it's actually not so ridiculous, it turns out. So we've got the answer to last week's question. We've got some scenarios and broglios, situations that have turned up at the AT&T No Am event from last weekend with Rusty Knox and Mav McNeely. Great names they are, Rusty Knox and Mav McNeely. They could only be pro golfers, couldn't they? And then we've got a couple of questions from a listener, from Jong Win. He's emailed in, given us some feedback too, which we'll talk about. Then a few other things that we will do, just part of housekeeping, bit of chit-chat, bit of fun, bit of frivolity, celebrating Happy Gilmore 25 years. And this week's GRQ, a bit of background bingo, no Ivers to report. Let's get into it, Blakey. Let's get into it. So last week's GRQ, can you repeat it, please?
Yeah, it was basically along the lines of, can you play rock, paper, scissors, which I think I quoted as paper, rock, scissors, whatever. Can you play that to determine who's going to play next in a match play situation where you don't know which ball is furthest from the hole? Can you use rock, paper, scissors?
Would you like to do a bit of rock, paper, scissors now? Because I am one up in the rock, paper, scissors challenge from last week to determine who gives the answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go for it.
Okay.
Best of three, of course.
If you're listening to a podcast, we've already gone off track because the answer is totally visual. So you have to jump over to the YouTube channel and watch us be fools. Bear with us if you are listening. We'll be back to normal programming. We're just going to have a quick game of paper, scissors, rock because I was one up. Blakey wants the chance to get back at me. Okay, ready, go. Okay. Yeah, I went paper, he went scissors. Okay, 2 rocks. Yep, 1 to me. 2 to you, 2-1. You went, so I was 1 up. Okay, so he won with the scissors. Rocks beat scissors. So there you go. So the answer is, well, you won, so you can tell the answer.
Yeah. So the answer is yes. Rock, paper, scissors is a random method that you can use to determine who is away. I mean, a coin toss is another random method. Which side of the club lands after you toss the club in the air. So say if you said, here's my 7-iron, you have the back of the face, I'll have the front of the face, throw it up, whatever lands.
It's like the old cricket bat. See who bats, you spin the bat, hills or hollows.
Exactly. Anything like that. I mean, I could say, Ross, you just go. And you're like, no, I don't want to go. You go. And I'll go, okay, fine, I'll go. And you go, actually, no, I do want to go. I mean, the coin toss or the rock, paper, scissors is probably easier. If you are doing rock, paper, scissors, I'd suggest just do 1. Like, just best of 1. That's all you need.
Okay. 3 is more fun, but anyway, one will do. Bang, bang, bang. It's quite hard because I think we just, it's not quite hard, but we just did it then and you were sort of paused. You were waiting for me to do a bit of a tell. I think you were holding back, waiting for me to see so you could get the advantage. What about...
Funnily enough, how you say that, because it was the opposite, Roscoe. I thought you were waiting for me to. So, that's what happens when you're in Zoom. I mean, it would probably be a little bit better if we were actually face to face
Mate.
With many angles of cameras looking at us, making sure that we're not cheating.
Mate, the audio's coming through fine. The video's coming through fine. You were hanging back, all right? I'm just going to leave it at that. Now, okay, so you can use a random method. Towing costs, obviously, I would like to see the WGC event or something like that with one of these events coming up that they have to do something. I'd love to see someone go paper, scissors, rock. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I did have a situation that brings the story up.
Yes, so you did.
I did have a situation like that when I refereed at the WGC in 2018. Charley Hoffman was playing Brendan Steele. They come down the 18th hole. They didn't know which ball was closest to the hole or which ball was furthest away from the hole, as in who was to go. I had Brendan Steele standing right beside his ball, ready to hit. Charley Hoffman had sort of walked up to the hole a little bit, got onto ShotLink, which is the PGA Tour's statistical, how they keep track of all the statistics, all the data, and they give you exactly how far away each ball is from the hole. Got over the radio, can I get some data about Charley and Brendan's balls, how far away they are? Came back, they were both 41 yards away. So the head referee at the time said, Blakey, do you have a coin in your pocket? And I was like, I don't have coins. It's card or maybe some cash every now and then, but it's mainly just card with me. I was like, what do I do? So I just picked, I didn't think about doing a random method. I just picked and said, Brendan was near his ball. I said, yep, Brendan, it's your shot. Charley, I was walking down and sort of Charley said, that must have been pretty close. I was like, yeah, pretty close, knowing full well that it was pretty much dead on. I actually started walking it out. So I started at Brendan's ball and started walking it out. And I think I got like 45 or something like that. And then I was halfway down to walking Charley's ball out, and then it came over that they were both 41. But, if I'd had my time again, I would have said, okay, boys, we're just going to have a quick rock, paper, scissors, and best of one, let's go. And that would have been brilliant, but I wasn't quick enough to think about that.
And you didn't have a coin? Or a commemorative marker. You didn't have anything like that.
I was a very well-organised referee, didn't have a coin.
Do they have a team meeting beforehand with the referees and say, okay, guys, today, we've got these guys on the course and, this is what we've got to look out for, and does everyone have their kit with them, including a coin or a tee or something to make a random decision, in the case that Charley and Brandon are equidistant apart?
There's recommended things that you can have in your bag. I think... I was in a cart, that one. So there's recommended things that you're going to have in your bag. Obviously, a rules book, string to work out whether a ball was in bounds. If there's two posts, fence posts.
The old plumb bob method.
Yeah, defining the out of bounds. If you don't have string, you can get. I'm going to get this wrong. Floss. Mouth floss. Teeth floss, tooth floss, whatever. And there's, stopwatch. I've got 2 stopwatches. That's a bit over the top, possibly. But one is to see that, the 3 minutes of a ball search for one player, and you might have another ball search going on at the same time, or someone might be playing. So while this ball search is going, you're making sure that other person is playing within their recommended 40 seconds, basically. So little things like that. But yeah, another thing would be definitely have a coin to toss. But if it ever happens again, I'm definitely going to go the rock, paper, scissors. Yeah, absolutely.
Love it.
Even if one of the players goes, I've got a coin, I go, no, it's got to be more official than that. It's rock, paper, scissors. I want to get that on TV. Just two PGA Tour players going, okay, who's playing next? Rock, paper, scissors.
Could they refuse the rock, paper, scissors?
No, not if the referees told them to do it.
Good, okay.
They could refuse. They could ask for a second opinion. On the PGA Tour, they are entitled to get a second opinion. That's a PGA Tour PGA Tour policy, but it's not a strict, if a referee makes a decision normally under the rules of golf, you just have to sit with that decision. But if they said we want a second opinion, I'll just go no.
No.
Just rock, paper, scissors, guys.
Now, Blakey, we're going to move on now. If we've covered that off, we're going to look at some of the ball moved at rest incidents from the weekend. No, but just before we do that, I'm just going to put a little pause on, if you can fill, with some, random information. But I've just got to plug this little cord in because, it's one of the bits of kit that I need to make the video play. So give me 2 seconds, Blakey.
Yeah, so the AT&T which Pro-Am at Pebble Beach, as you rightly said in your introduction, was nice legs, Roscoe, was the AT&T No-Am, although they did play an amateur celebrity sort of match on the Wednesday. But basically it was just a normal looking tournament, no celebrities out there. They played on 2 golf courses as they normally do. No, they normally play on 3, I think. But they played on 2 golf courses this time, Spyglass Hill and Pebble Beach. And it was just basically a normal tournament at those golf courses. And there were a couple of incidences with one Russell Knox and another with Maverick McNeely. Have you got them ready, Roscoe?
Yeah, definitely ready. Now I'm sitting back down. If you choose to put my legs into the video, I will be disappointed because it will come up like a flash of blinding light. Now, proudly, being of good Australian Scottish origin and my fair red Celtic skin, I think this might be my third summer in a row where I don't think that these legs have seen the sun. It's a little badge that I'm wearing with a degree of proudness because I have to be sun smart in my aging years. But if you do see my white legs pop up, if Blakey chooses to leave it in, 3 years of no sun. That's playing in long pants, and there you go. That's how you get legs like that are whiter than out of bounds markers.
Well done there. Is proudness a word or is it pride?
Might be an either, and I'm happy to take an either. Proudness. Pride might be the.
Is it Andy Proudness?
Yeah, mate. I'm just here for pushing the buttons. All right, the skills in English language. Scottish is my first mother tongue, and there we go.
That's fair enough. You and me both, Roscoe. Can't say that English is something that I'm really well educated on.
Now, let me go here because my link just left me. Let's go to. This is going to play the intro, Blakey. This is going to play your intro.
Give me some ad revenue.
It's going to play your intro. It's a great intro, by the way. If you do check us out, that was from our adventure on the road, adventure down to Lonsdale Links, where you see the intro footage. Let's play this up.
I was in, took my club behind the ball, and my ball moved. I'll just call it as official just to get it right. I know there's like 2 or 3 different. Sure. I know there's like 2 or 3 different. There's candy one now. Where's the place? You were addressed to it already? I was in club went down. Yeah, I was first club went down, there was one. And it just like barely like. Yeah, I definitely didn't touch it or anything.
All right, let's take a look here, Nick.
No, it just moved again. It moved this far, yeah. I would just.
Well, so he's there. It moved.
Yeah, so he's closer to it than he was saying. He actually put the club behind it.
Something similar happened with Maverick McNeely yesterday, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Let's listen in, see if we can.
Let's call for a rolling, Terry. That'll be a while. A minute.
Well, there we go. We hear the voice of Sir Nick Faldo talking about that. And we also hear Australia's very own Luke Elvey, who was back on the on-ground commentary team for the first time in a long time. G'day to Luke if you're listening over there in Canada where he lives. It's good to hear him back. Very clearly, Rusty Knox addresses the ball and then the ball moves. But, interestingly so, when he was given the recount to his playing partner, he said that he wasn't so near the ball, but obviously when those guys replayed the vision there, he pretty much put his club into the address position. So, what more happened from your perspective than that, Blakey? Because for me it looked pretty clear cut. He put his ball down behind the put his club down behind the ball, and the ball moved.
Yeah, I mean, it was very close to the ball, and he was literally half a second away from taking it away and playing the shot. So I personally believe that he caused the ball to move. I mean, what else could have caused the ball to move? Yes, it could have been in a precarious position and gravity helped cause it to move. But, if the player hadn't put the club behind the ball, would the ball have moved? And that's what you got to work out. It's all about 95% virtually certain that the player caused the ball to move.
Yeah.
If you walk towards the ball and you're a metre away from it and the ball just starts rolling on its own volition, then it was always you could almost say that it was always going to move, and that the player didn't do anything. But in this case, the club's gone down directly behind the ball, and about a second or 2 seconds later, it's moved. So now what he recounted, is that a word, to the referee was that he was a little bit further away from the ball and the ball moved. I'm not saying he's doing anything untoward then, but it wasn't accurate what the information was that he gave to the referee. And so after they looked at the camera, after the rules committee looked at the video, and I mean, all this stuff is on video. If you're up near the lead, you've just got to realise that you're going to be on camera for pretty much the whole day. So they were able to look at that and go, no, we think it is very similar to Maverick's situation yesterday and very similar to John Rahm's situation last year, in that the player has caused the ball to move, therefore getting the one-shot penalty. Now, the referee at the time said, no, don't worry about moving it back if you didn't cause it to move. But because of that miscommunication about whether the player actually caused it to move or not, the referee just said play it from where it lies, which is fine. But what actually should have happened was the player should have put the ball back.
So he was advised of his penalty a couple of holes later on down the track, is that right?
Yeah, hole four. I think he missed like a 2.5 foot for birdie and then horseshoed out. And then after that, he got told that he's going to incur another shot penalty for that on the first hole. So it wasn't a great start for Rusty.
It was pretty much lights out after that. So
Did you enjoy the pun and the title of the pun?
No, sorry. You have to fill me in.
A little rustle behind the ball knocks it sideways.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, I get it. If you read it a couple of times now, I get it. Well done. That's clever.
Thank you.
What I don't get about, there's two things I don't get about that scenario is how he could have possibly seen that it was not a penalty. He's a professional at the highest level with cameras all around him, and anyway, that's for him to work out. And as someone of Scottish heritage, he's lost his accent. I know he's been in the States a long time, but he sounds more American these days than the Scottish. Come on, Rusty.
Certainly does.
But he's a great golfer and has been a good ambassador for Scottish golf. Won the Irish Open a couple of years ago up at Ballyliffin. I'm pretty sure he did. And his sister Diane is also in the States, and she's a wonderful media personality and very knowledgeable about the world of golf as well. Now,
I mean, in a situation like that, the player's got to try and, what was I doing? What were my actions? You just hope that, if they say it as accurately and as honestly as what they remember, but in the heat of the moment, maybe they don't quite get it.
Yep.
Don't quite get it right, and that's where the cameras come in and can help the rules committee out as to what the correct ruling is.
Yeah, look, I'm not accusing him of anything, but he did put his club behind the ball, and he seems to have not remembered that it was there and just said it was over to the side where it actually spend most of its time. So anyway, but the day before there was another incident with Maverick McNeely. So let's cue that one up and play that and make sure I've got this happening better.
The ball didn't move at that point. I took my practice swing. Addressed the ball. Yep. I was about ready to hit it. Yeah. That would be.
All right, take a look. We got it. We were watching it.
The only reason I'm
Nick?
Well, maybe the PGA Tour officials who watched this. Oh, there it was. Okay. So let's do it again in slow-mo. So look, he's just hovering. So technically he hasn't grounded the club, if that's hovering.
All right, yeah, he felt like the ball was sitting a little precariously, and so he was pretty careful behind it, knowing that it could move. He said that he addressed it.
Mojo?
Asking that question.
Yeah, he felt it, knowing what it was, he had dropped the ball and caused a little indention. The ball was sitting right behind it, right next to it. So he was doing his best to be careful around it. He does not feel like he caused it to move, but he did have the club behind the ball at one point, and then I don't know what the time frame is as far as the ball's moving around.
Well, I'm sure the officials are watching this as well, so I would deem, look, he's hovered it. He's literally touched the top of the blade of grass, so I wouldn't deem that as grounding it.
Okay.
So that it's very much bang bang. You're going to see exactly.
So I decided to positive.
That audio, the second part of that audio, the first part's a little bit hazy and we might edit that out of the podcast, Blakey. But yeah, the second part there is much clearer and you can hear the interaction between the referee and then who would have they been talking to? Who's coming down through the radio there?
It's Gary Young.
Gazza.
One of the, good friends with Gary. He's a great guy. One of the tournament directors on the PGA Tour.
Okay. And so what was the outcome there? Because I've just cut it short because if you want to listen to the whole thing, and it's actually quite interesting, that one to listen to because, as you can hear them talking in the byplay and then Sir Nick comes in and, chimes in and Maverick McNeely is telling people, I was trying to be really careful. What was the outcome?
I mean, he was trying to be really careful and Sir Nick sort of said, I wouldn't really call that grounding, but the facts as we see them is the player went to put their club behind the ball, whether that was on the grass or just hovering above. It does look like the club hit the grass, then the ball moves straight away. As unfortunate as that is, that is virtually certain that the touching, the touching of the grass by the club that the player was holding onto, and then the ball moving caused that ball to move.
Do you know the one goat joke?
No, go for it.
Oh, no, I won't tell. It's not a clean joke, but it's like the one blade of grass, just one blade of grass.
Yeah, and that's all it is. If the timing was so wrong that the ball was going to move regardless of whether the club touched the grass or not at that particular moment in time, and Mavericks been very hard done by, but they don't have evidence to say that. The evidence is the club came down, touched the grass ever so slightly, ball moves.
Penalty.
95% virtually certain. And then the referee was there and he was able to get the vision up. It was probably took a fair while, but, got to get these things right. The player was then able to replace the ball and play a shot and nearly hold it, but not quite.
So in your opinion, Sir Nick was not correct?
Not quite. He's close, but he's not quite there.
He was
maybe he's sticking up for the player, although he sort of learned a lot from that one and then applied that one to the Russell Knox one, which was in round 4, and it was more accurate with what he said when we were watching the Russell Knox one.
Very good. Well, I think that clears those situations up. But we've talked about this before, and there are 2 examples from the weekend where it does show you as a club golfer. This is all to these podcasts are designed to help the everyday golfers like you and me understand the rules and be able to take a little bit of easy to understand interpretation and apply it in your own environment. And those 2 examples are great examples of when the ball moves and what's caused it to move and when it's a penalty. And, the rules have been sort of adapted to allow, it's changed so gravity can move the ball and you don't get penalised. But, that's how the rules are applied. And, they're great examples. And, I think if you do have those questions come up, just keep these two scenarios in your memory bank and, call a penalty. There goes the dogs there, Blakey.
Yeah, so with that situation, there was a bit of heated debate and discussion on, especially on YouTube, but certainly on Twitter, about why that rule was even in place. It's so incidental. The players aren't trying to do anything to gain an advantage. And someone actually said, could they just change the rule so that it's exactly the same as the putting green? Well, let's just go down that path of where they change the rule, and so there's no penalty if you cause your ball to move accidentally and then you just replace it. Would there be situations where it's sitting down in the rough, you press down hard enough, you move your ball and you go, I've got to replace my ball because I accidentally caused the move, and then someone places it in a really nice spot, so other people are going to go, well, we have to trust in the integrity of the player. Yes. And that's very well, but we also have to, be careful around our ball. I just feel like it's just so easy, or a lot easier, to be more careful around your ball. I mean, there's nowhere in the rules that it says that you have to ground your club behind the ball.
Yeah. And just to be clear, the rules on the putting green are different to the rules when you're in the general area, correct?
Yeah, well, the putting green is a lot more consistent.
Yep.
If you're replacing your ball, it's going to be in a lot similar lie than if you're in the rough or on the fairway. If your ball is in a divot and then someone accidentally causes their ball to move, and then they have to replace it, and suddenly now it's not in the divot. That brings up another rabbit hole, because people go, well, you should get free relief from divots anyway.
It is amazing when you do scroll through the comments that come on your Instagram and your YouTubes and all those things, how many different interpretations, and that's not taking a pot at anyone, but it's just these topics in the rules are emotive in some respects, and just people are intrigued by different interpretations, and that's one of the reasons it's brought us together and why we're sitting here doing this. At the risk of withering on, Blakey, let's keep moving. We've got an email question in here from Jongwen, and Jongwen, thank you for your feedback on the podcast. We do appreciate any feedback that you want to give us, you individually, Jongwen, or anyone. If you like what we're doing, please feel free to tell us. If you don't like what we're doing, please feel free to tell us. If there's something you want covered, let us know. If you want to jump on the email list, jump on the email list, all of that sort of thing. But John Wynn gave us some feedback, and we try and take that on board. It would be very easy, John Wynn, to just pile into each rule as they are numbered in the rule book. We'd probably quickly run out of rules to cover. We'd be 24 podcasts long or thereabouts. But we try and add a little bit of colour and flair and spice and whatever it is that we try and do, because that keeps Blakey and I entertained, and that's probably one of the important things, that we keep each other entertained. And if you find that enjoyable as well, we do. But we do like that. So you might get up a bit of withering from some time to time, as we're doing now. But we do try and keep it concise. We do always set out to try and be concise, but sometimes we're just both passionate golf people, and we just rabbit on a bit. So anyway, that's please give us any feedback. All welcome. Now, John Wynn's come in and said he's got a question about Rule 14.2D in brackets 2. What does that mean, Blakey?
So he's got a couple of questions there. One's 14.2D and one's 14.2E. And 14.2, we'll start with 14.2D. That is about when your lie has been altered. And I brought up a example of this early on in one of the early episodes, about when I had my ball played from the fairway, so another player played a wrong ball, and I had to replace my ball or another ball of mine, not that specific ball, on the exact spot from which, or the estimated spot from which it was moved. Now, it wasn't in a divot. It was just on the fairway, and then the player who played it created a divot in their stroke, and fatted it a little bit, so the divot started a little bit behind the ball. So now I don't get, there's no requirement that I place it in the divot that was just created, because that's not, my lie has just been altered is what I'm trying to say. So I got to place it in the nearest, most similar lie, not nearer the hole, in the same area of the course within 1 club length. Okay, so it's definitely not nearer the hole. I know that interpretation doesn't actually mention not nearer the hole. The interpretation doesn't, it's a double negative here, doesn't mention not nearer the hole, but the rule does. The rule states when the ball was anywhere except in the sand, the player must replace the ball by placing it on the nearest spot with the most similar lie to the original lie, that is within 1 club length from its original spot, not nearer the hole, and in the same area of the course as that spot. Okay, now you quoted number 2, Roscoe, because that is ball anywhere except in sand. When your ball is in sand, say in a bunker, a waste area, you just recreate your lie. Because if you hit my ball, it's a wrong ball in a singles competition, I don't now place it in a similar line in the sand. I would just recreate it. I would just, take the sand back or some sand back and put the sand back in there and do exactly what number 1 tells you. Whereas number 2, talking about in the fairway, in the rough, dirt, grass, you just place it in the nearest, most similar lie from the one that was before it was altered.
Now, just
does that clear it up?
Yeah, it does. And I'll just clear it up a little bit further by saying that Jongwyn asked, does that mean that the player can play from nearer the hole by a few inches? And you've just answered that. No, you can't play from nearer a hole. So obviously Jongwyn's asking, what if it's really hard to place it in that most similar lie and it doesn't appear to be anywhere close by that's nearer? Well, you can't go nearer the hole.
That's right. And so you would try and place it in the club length. And if you've tried twice within the club length and it won't come to rest, then you try again not nearer the hole. And this is under 14.2E, where your ball won't come to rest after you've tried to replace it. Okay, so you see that flow-on effect from 14.2D to 14.2E, where you now place your ball in the nearest, most similar, 14.2D, place it in the spot must, you basically just place it at the spot where it will stay at rest. Okay, so 14.2D, within a club length, nearest most similar lie, it won't stay there, you can't get to stay in there. Now you're just placing it at the nearest spot where it will come to rest in the same area of the course. Doesn't have to be within a club length, but it does have to be no closer to the hole, and it has to be in the same area of the course, except if you're on the putting green, you can place it in the general area. And if it's in the same bunker, if it's in a bunker, it has to be in the same bunker. And if it's in a penalty area, it has to be in the same penalty area. And if you can't get it to come to rest in the bunker or the penalty area, you have to take unplayable or Rule 17 relief from a penalty area.
Well, there it is, all laid out for you, Jongwyn. Thank you for your feedback and questions. We do appreciate that. It's taken, we're now into the 30-odd minute mark, and we've answered that fairly concisely. Hopefully that clears it up for you. And as I say, if you've got any questions, please shoot them in. We love it. Have we got a bit of a backlog of questions at the moment? I saw a couple come through.
Yeah. We've, we're getting more every week, plus the backlog that we've got to clear. So, to be honest, as I told you, Roscoe, I could talk golf rules for 3 or 4 hours, and I don't think Jongwyn wants that. So
no, that's apparent to me as well. I don't want that either, Blakey. So we'll try and stick to the script as best as we currently do it. But if you have asked the question And I'm sure Blakey's acknowledged that via email and returned a thank you to you. We will cover it on the podcast as we get through them all. So it's great.
Yeah, I've actually got some really good questions lined up. But, with the PGA Tour being back, which is not what we had sort of August last year, we've got material popping up every weekend. So, I just want to shout out to Stuart again for helping me out with the videos from the PGA Tour.
And thank you to this week's guests from the PGA Tour, Rusty Knox and Maverick McNeely. Thank you for joining us on the podcast. Thank you. Appreciate that. Stickers are in the mail to you, Rusty and Maverick. Stickers in the mail. Now, special announcement. Today, 25 years of Happy Gilmore. The Instagram world is abuzz of people's favourite Happy Gilmore shots. The Ladies European, the ALPGA Tour put a little bit out of all the girls at the Scottish Open. Might have been the Ladies European Tour. Scottish Open, coming from a couple of years ago, having a bit of a Happy Gilmore off, and everyone's posting their favourite Happy Gilmores. I'm not a Happy Gilmore sort of guy, Blakey.
I am. I love it. I've watched it over 100 times.
Oh no, I love the video. The movie's fantastic, but I'm not. I see so many clubs come into my world that are broken at the hosel. So many drivers that are broken at the hosel, and the guys. It's not usually girls that come in, but it's the guys come in and they go, "Oh mate, yeah, the head just flew off. I was just taking a shot, mate, and it flew off." And I go, "Okay, you go to the driving range. Go to the driving range a bit, mate. Yep. Doing a Happy Gilmore, were we?" And you can, the eyes up and to the left. It's a dead giveaway. The eyes move up and to the left. And they go, "Oh, maybe one or two." And you can always tell a Happy Gilmore because the bottom of the heel of the driver is worn or caved in, from heeling it down onto the hard concrete. A lot of people don't realise that, the mat alone at a driving range isn't, it doesn't perform like grass. Right, real grass in the real world. The real grass in the real world's got a fair bit of give under it. But if you go to a certain driving ranges and you see them on Instagram, especially the ones in America, it's just a big concrete strip, a little mat, and people just belting balls off. I've seen so many clubs come in that are bent at the hosel, irons, and obviously I know the guys that are doing it, and I say, have you hit 1,000 million balls at the driving range in the last 7 days? Yeah, mate. Yeah, how'd you know? So that's what happens when you hit 7 irons off, concrete effectively with a little bit of fake turf above it, and it's you really do. Public service announcement. Public service announcement. We do a few of these on this. If you go to the driving range, just be careful. Be careful doing Happy Gilmores on full stop. You don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to fall over the driving range. You don't want your head to fall off, because the other thing that I hear is, my head fell off and they wouldn't let me go out and get it, and the ball picker upper wasn't going out for another hour, so I couldn't get my head back, and then I went back the next day and it wasn't there. So I've heard all sorts of things about people doing Happy Gilmores, but just be careful, because a big source of injury and, like golfer's elbow and that sort of stuff are from people playing at ranges a lot, because it's concrete underneath, and it's just hitting 150 balls. We all want to hit as many balls. I do it, down at the range off the grass all day, but concrete can damage your clubs and can damage yourself if you do too much of it, or you do it with the wrong technique, more importantly. So, public service announcement there, something in relation to Happy Gilmore. I've got
to jump in.
It's your podcast. It's your podcast.
That's how I broke the shaft on my driver about 11 years ago.
Doing a Happy Gilmore?
Doing a Happy Gilmore. It actually worked out really well for me, because that shaft was pretty crappy and I got a better shaft put in with lower torque. But I thought I was pretty good. Happy Gilmore, bang. Middle of the range. There was us, and we were a party of about 3, and then there was like 2 other people down there. It was late at night, range nearly closing up. And I was like, "Oh, guys, can you just hold up?" Ran out about 50 metres and grabbed the driver head and had to get it patched up the next day.
Luckily, it was that many years ago, Blakey. I don't want to be the spoiler of fun in my old vintage age here, but lucky it was 10 years ago when you were about 12, so I'll forgive you. But right, you're a statesman of the game now. You've got to uphold your decorum even at the driving range.
So I just wanted to bring up the Happy Gilmore, because it is the anniversary, 25 years, 1996. Also, that Adam Sandler got out on Instagram, as you said, and Shooter McGavin had a reply to him with a putt, which is pretty funny. Shooter McGavin's that's the acting name. His real name is McDonald, isn't it?
Is Shooter McGavin his acting name? You're kidding me.
No. Well, I said Adam Sandler, where I was like,
it's not real? Shooter McGavin's not real?
Okay,
he wasn't on the PGA Tour?
Okay.
Unbelievable, Blakey.
Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to shout out because I've gone through the whole movie and I was able to get I think I got about 40 rules situations. And this is about 5 years ago. I posted them up on YouTube and I had to change the rules 2 years ago after the changes and say, what was a penalty is now not a penalty, or what wasn't a penalty is now a penalty, etc. And so you can go and see the videos. And the whole reason that I brought this up is I looked at my Google, my YouTube analytics this morning. It was like Happy Gilmore videos all blowing up. I'm getting watched, and the search terms for Happy Gilmore was up. And I was like, oh, what's going on? Looked on Instagram, and it's 25 years. So that's why people were watching my videos, because they'd been searching Happy Gilmore 25 years.
We could have done this episode on all the rules, infractions, and imbroglio scenarios and situations broken in the famous movie from 25 years ago of Happy Gilmore. We could have done that.
Episode 30. I'll do it next week.
Maybe we will. Okay. Speaking of videos, thank you to you, Blakey, for letting me feature in a Golf Rules Questions YouTube video from our time down at Lonsdale Links. If you haven't watched it, please, give me my debut appearance in Golf Rules Questions videos. Was it debut? It probably is. Where I actually play from a penalty area and unintentionally hit the ball backwards into the water. It was...
hopefully that doesn't ruin your brand.
No, I'm happy. As you can tell, I'm happy to play the fool, be the fool, and all of that sort of thing. And I just hope that in 25 years that someone remembers me hitting the ball backwards, because I was actually trying to get it out of the hazard onto the green, but I hit it backwards and it goes into the water, which fortunately created a whole new scenario that we hadn't actually scoped out and played to share on the video. And part 2 of the video, which is unreleased yet, still negotiating terms on the release of my material. Part 2 is even better, because that's a marac, to use a Happy Gilmore term. Is that a marac? Is that Happy Gilmore, or is
well, what?
It's a marac.
I haven't heard that on Happy Gilmore.
What's the other? Caddyshack. That's a Caddyshack term. There you go.
Right.
Bit older.
No.
Yeah, it's a marac.
So I got a message this morning from a random person, Dave Blake, Tick Star, and he sends me the link to TikTok with one of the videos from TikTok, and it was this video that you're talking about, Roscoe, and one of the comments after that, he said, "You should do more tic-tics with that Scottish dude." That must make you so happy.
I've just gone red. It's not the glow of the light ring. You can see the light ring there. There it is. Yes, you don't look this good on camera if you don't use a light ring. So we are using light rings. I've just gone red with joy and embarrassment in the same breath, because to be, at my age, identified by someone, you should do something more with that guy, that old fool on TikTok. Tick. I'm gonna reopen my TikTok account now, and I don't know. I don't even know what TikTok is. People are calling out for the accent. They want the accent. So after we do the background bingo, you can read this week's question in your Scottish accent. Oh dear. Well, it does appear. I do appear in every episode with my Scottish accent, and I'm actually quite proud of that fact. But I'm happy to. Based on the fact that someone's called out for it on TikTok, I am happy to oblige. And once again, we did a stupid. No, it wasn't stupid, but I did my best sort of radio impersonation voice, which has got a lot of work to do, if I may say so. But if someone wants to pick me up as a Australian Scottish voice actor, as I say, speak to my people. They're negotiating terms with Blakey's videos for YouTube and now TikTok.
The number one Scottish Australian accent voice actor.
Well, there's been some rubbish. There's been some rubbish ones. Let me tell you. You know, I used to cringe as a kid when I'd hear the ads of "That's not how you make porridge." You know, like they were Aussies doing the accent. Now they weren't Scottish, mate. For anyone, I just want to dispel the myth that the two people on the "That's not how you make porridge," they weren't Scottish. They were Aussies, marauding as Scots and doing fake accents. And I just used to cringe because I thought, Dad, you could do that, and I could probably do it better than the kid. There you go. We
are so far off. We are so far off golf rules.
It's withering. It's the official term for this week is withering. But
the hard thing is that they're all waiting for the golf rules question of the week question. We suck them in. I'm so sorry, people. It's just, you know, we had a meeting and the marketing department said you got to keep sucking them in with your withering and then tease them out to listen to the golf rules question of the week.
Well, we're at 48 minutes, so we might string it out for an hour, but 55 minutes seems to be a sort of sweet spot for withering about golf rules. We've only talked about 2 golf rules, really, and we've withered on for 55 minutes. Well done, Blakey. Now, what are we doing? We're background bingo. Are we doing that?
Yep, smash the background bingo. Mine was Andrew Miller was back to winning form last week. He got mine, which was Spyglass Hill, my first venture up to the Northern Hemisphere for the tournament, the AT&T No-Am, as it was. So Spyglass Hill, well done, Andrew. And yours was?
Well, I'm just going to say not a bad first venture, if I may say so, to the Northern Hemisphere golf world. Mine was my home course in Scotland, the one and only Craigielaw Golf Club, which Andrew did get correct as well. Beautiful vista down looking over the course, Kilspindi in the background. It is my new home away from home when I get to visit my family over there, and it's a great place to have a bacon roll, a cup of tea, hit some balls on the full-size range, and then play a reasonably challenging course. It's very enjoyable. Craigielaw Golf Club.
And this week?
Yeah, well, this week, this is a tricky one for you. Anyone listening? It's a typically Australian background. You can see the gum trees there, the big gum trees. There's a little bit of a lake in front, a nice little golf hole there. If I move out of the way, I'll try and move so you can see it. There you go. But jump over to YouTube and guess us for that one. You might have to follow me on Instagram and peel back through the Instas on ross.flanagan.golf. And you can also follow me at My Love of Golf and listen out for the My Love of Golf podcast. Pretty much comes out weekly. Thank you for tuning into that as well. Less withering on that one, more real sort of stories.
And if you think yours has got gum trees, then mine certainly does.
Yeah, that looks good, that course there.
I want to get here. It looks awesome, actually.
I
just love the contrast.
I think I know it. I think it's reasonably obvious. Mine's no. If Andrew Miller gets this one, he is going to have to go to Google Maps, Google Earth, and my Instagram, and follow that. I'm sure he already has. Okay, is that it? Nearly it. We've got the time for
the golf rules question of the week 29.
Okay, am I reading it? Can I read it, please?
Yeah, and are you going to do it in Scottish?
Okay, if I have to. I've got to clear the throat. Sorry for the throat clearing. I better actually read it so I know what I'm saying. Oh, gee, I've got to say this bloke's name in Scottish as well. Okay, here we go. The Golf Rules Question of the Week, episode 29. Here we go. Are you permitted to watch a video on YouTube, say George Gankus, or Me and My Golf, during a round to obtain swing tips? That is outrageous.
Yeah, can you read it so that people can understand what you said?
Oh, that's offensive. That's offensive. I'm offended. My poor mother. I tell you, my poor mother had to endure in the supermarkets of Cessnock years of what was that? What was that? My poor mum, she took that to her grave, you know. Ross, they never understood me. You know what a message is? If you are Scottish, you know what a message is. My mother would say, can you deliver the messages to 91 Northcote Street, Cessnock, please? What was that? Anyway, there's my, are you permitted to watch a video on YouTube, say George Gankus or Me and My Golf, during a round to obtain swing tip? Well, I don't know the answer. We'll have to find out next week. Are you permitted to watch a video on YouTube, say George Gankus? He's pretty special, George Gankus. He's got some funky moves happening and he's growing in popularity. Or Me and My Golf, and g'day to Andy Proudman, won't be listening, has been interviewed on the My Love of Golf podcast. Lovely fella, and also tune into his podcast, Live Like a Legend, really good one, every Monday, during a round of golf to obtain swing tips.
All right. I think we're done. We can stop withering now.
Okay. Blakey, it's been great. That's always fun. You let me have some fun, and hopefully you have some fun too, letting me have some fun. It's enjoyable learning. I've learnt some more stuff this week. I hope you have too at home, and please get in touch. And did you get anyone wanting some stickers? Some of the...
Yep. I got to send some out. So my postal skills aren't great, but I won't forget, I tell you that.
So people did actually contact you and say, I would love a GRQ Coup and a GRQ Roo.
That's correct, yeah.
Is that offer still open for anyone that does listen and want to contact you? Is it still limited? We're still sending some of those out?
Just send me an email, golfrules.questions@gmail.com. Send me an email that you want a sticker and I'll send one out. Oh, and your address, obviously.
Yeah, and of course that automatically opts you in for electronic communication. Just to cover that off, you will go onto Blakey's hit list for emails to get the wonderful newsletter he puts out.
Free emails, free rules newsletter.
Okay, Blakey, it's been great, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week on the GolfRules Questions podcast. Is that us done?
Yep. See you, Roscoe.